We're back with Badly in Love, episode 9. Let's get into it. If you remember, Emma wasn't very pleased with Player, and she was saying basically, if you keep flirting with other girls and giving them attention, I'm just going to fall back because I'm not into it. End it. And Player's response is, I know who I like, not 100% confident, but I have made my choice. He said there's still a part of him that is unsure, and all this flip-flopping is making my head go crazy. Emma says, I'm sure it's not just lingerie and I that you have on your mind. And he's like, that's true. Because we know baby's part of this equation too. Just throw them all in there at this point. Emma's like, if that's where we are right now, I'm not cool with that. And in the interview room, we see Player say, do I like her? Probably not, because if I liked her, I would tell her that, right? And it's just like, you kiss the woman, you know you're leading them on, so stop talking bullshit. He reiterates that he's still undecided. We know. Hot host jokes, the kiss between Ammo and Player was a mic check. And he's got a thick ass chain around his neck. Okay, represent, you little ghetto boy. So now we're in the girls' bedroom. They're getting ready, they're making themselves look pretty. And we see lingerie. She's a student to study design. Remember, she's a lingerie designer. That's why I named her lingerie. She's designing the t-shirts for the children's festival. And it looks great. Player graciously donates the t-shirts on behalf of his company. It's a collaboration between potential lovers. She's still not at the game apparently, so love collaboration. Player seems shocked in this moment that she can design it. It's like, hello, were you not listening to the girl? And she kind of looks disgusted and she's like, yeah, I'm a designer. That's what I do, bitch. Player, you don't like these girls, you don't pay attention, so clearly you ain't liking her like that. She says she loves kids, she loves designing, so this is right up her alley. She's glad she gets to do it and she hopes the kids will appreciate too. Painting fireworks on the wall. I don't understand why they painted it white, because I thought if you're going to do fireworks, would you not do it like dark? I don't know. And Gary says, going up this ladder's kind of scary, isn't it? Bonsai's a sweetheart and holds the ladder for her. Bless her heart, she's so scared. She's like, Bonsai, hold my hand while I do this because it's so scary. Gary says in the interviews that she was happy that Bonsai was there to support her and hold her hand. He's always been the one to choose her every time. It makes her feel secure. The little girl, Lingerie and Player are drawing flowers on the wall and he's drawing the leaves. Lingerie's teasing him saying there's a way too big. They're having a good time. Lingerie is reflecting on the conversation she had with Player on the boat. Him telling the truth had brought them closer together, or at least help erase any weird tension between them so they can be open with each other and closer to each other. She says, if he ends up having feelings for me, then it's over. She gon' snatch him up. She said she'd like to have another chance. I bet you would, girl. Baby and Bossman are doing the balloons with the little girl. I wonder where Milk is. Baby says, can you hand me the string? And when he's tying it, she's like, be careful. And the girl's tying the balloon and it pops and the water goes everywhere. Not the bad kind of splash that Ammo did. A good kind of splash, a funny one. Bossman makes the joke, you're always getting splashed. And Baby says, that's my role. Bossman says over the past few couple of days, they've been talking a lot. He feels like he's comfortable with her. He also thinks they think a lot alike. He can see a future with her. He can be himself around her. So he's thinking he's the best option at this point. Don't know what we've missed. I mean, he is the best option, but I don't know if she agrees with that, sir. Anyway, they're making handprint flowers. We've got the owner coming in, checking up on the kids, and she contributes her own little handprint flower too. Lingerie's talking. She says the owners are ex-Yankee too. Compared to each other, they'd be an odd pair, but actually they have similar backgrounds. She's very appreciative of this moment because she loves working with kids and she wants to thank her face to face. And they're finished and it's back to the school. Everybody says good morning and they're like, where's Player? And he walks in with the t-shirts. They're ready and they look great. I don't know why they've got a kiss mark on it. Will the boys want to wear a kiss mark? But whatever, they look good. And everybody's clapping for Lingerie. Well done on the design, girl. Time for the festival and you see the tents propped up outside. It looks super cute. They've even got a lucky fortune. I drew my omikuji, my fortune this year, and I got medium luck. I wonder if they designed their own fortune slips, but the box looks great. And Milk says that Lingerie did a good job at designing things. She really has an eye for design. He didn't expect that out of her and he's really attracted to her. Initially, he did think she was cute. He said he wants to get closer to her and I'm like, we're on episode 9, boy. Hello? Hello? It's a chopped salad. It's all mixed up. I don't know what's happening, but apparently he finds Lingerie attractive. Okay. Garu and Baby are fixing up the balloons and she's getting lost in the balloon. She's struggling and she calls Milk over to help. And she was like, where were you? Could have done with your help. And he was like, where was I? I was inside doing my chores. Weird. Usually he would be up her ass, but he's clearly been pulling back a little bit. And Baby says, I tried to call you. I knew I should have asked you to do it. And there's a weird silent tension between them. And she kind of glances up and looks at him like, you being off, boy. She can sense it, I feel. Anyways, in the interviews, Milk says, it's like no matter what I do, she gets mad at me. She always gives me this glance when I've done something wrong. It's kind of cold. She gets mean. Look, if there's one thing that baby can do, it's a mean mug. It's a side eye. It's a cold death stare. At one point, he threw the box of markers to Bar Girl and baby said, "Don't throw them, you might hit her." Which is true, but maybe the way she said it was a bit too aggressive. Hold on, I see in the clip that it's all away from across the room, over the table, across the room. That's freaking lazy. And baby was right to tell him off, because what are you doing, sir? You could hurt someone from that far away and your aim may not be that great, so I get it. And he said that kind of annoyed him. He was like, the hell? I don't know why she did that. But I'm like, well, maybe it's because she called him out in front of everyone else that kind of emasculated him. I don't know, but whatever it is, he deserved it. And then when they were talking to Bonsai in the living room about him and Gyaru, Bonsai said that he held the ladder for Gyaru. So Milk was like, oh, you're such a gentleman. You're so nice. And then baby said, you know, when I was on the ladder, Milk didn't hold it for me. He was thinking, bitch, don't you do this for a living? She is a painter, but that's not the point. It's about romance, chivalry, taking care of your girl. Duh. And he said the way that she said it was pretty harsh. And I think this is the point. It's not about what she says. It's the way that she says it, because she is a tough, hard bitch, man. And sometimes she can come across as too strong and too serious and a bit mean. She a mean girl. He thinks there's a better way to express that. I told you guys she comes off as an angry soul to me. So I do not blame Milk for feeling this way. Baby says in the interviews that Milk had been the first choice for her so far, and she was kind of hoping that he'd come and help her with the balloons, but he didn't. She noticed that, and that was a big deal for her. Also, once again, I don't blame them. They just don't have any chemistry. We knew this. Why are we dragging it out now? And then we go back to him and he's like, she didn't take the initiative or seek me out. Sir, have we got another prince on our hands? I don't care about if it's 2026. I don't care. Girls like to be pursued. But then he does say, even when we talk, it goes nowhere. And that's true. She's not helping the situation either. Can we just cut the cord and give up right now? Please, can we agree? So he says, so for me, I feel like the initial spark that I felt has faded a little for sure. But I shouldn't give up on her. Huh? Everyone's a flip-flopper, flip-flopper. Everybody's flip-flopping, flip-flopping. Why are they flip-flopping? I don't know. Bossman is playing his name and his part perfectly. He's wearing the typical Japanese festival headband. He says, everybody, come here, group huddle. Hosts call him Carnival Boss, and I love it. He said, everybody, let's band together, let's do this, and work hard for the children. Let's go, yay! And everybody cheers. I think he got his eyebrows reshaped because they look pointier and smaller than usual. Yes, eyebrows won. Get them. Everybody retreats to their stations. Takoyaki, they're playing with the balloons. See the kids smiling and enjoying themselves together. Bar Girl thanks the little girl that sent her a letter named Mona. And Mona's great to have a letter in return. Her nails are done. Okay, girl. Better than mine. I'm failing. Milk at the cotton candy. Mona has a bite. She says it's delicious. Gyaru and Playa are cooking the yakisoba. And Bar Girl says that she wants to open a place just like this where kids can go and commune. She looks like a teacher. She looks like a mother when she's helping the kids put on their t-shirts, wiping their face. And Gyaru has a makeup station for the girls and the boys. Oh, look at this little handsome boy. Little J-pop star. She's making the boys and the girls over. Makeup is for everyone. Inclusivity. That's right. Under your eyes, I got you. Bit of blush, I'm here. Go Gyaru. And remember, she's a makeup artist, so this is her forte and her time to shine. And Gyaru says that she felt like she didn't have many strengths before. So she used to be at a loss and she didn't know what she could do to make the kids happy. This time when the kids came over, whether it was a 3-year-old girl or teenage boys, they were eager to learn from her on how to do makeup. She said she had a place like that when she was young. That's how she was able to make friends. She didn't have many friends in her grade. Because she had a place like that, she made friends with kids who went to other schools. And it was an important part of her childhood for sure. I agree. I also had a place that I could go and make more friends. I mean, I was a very sociable kid also. That's why I'm such an introvert now. I'm just tired. Love you guys, but I'm tired. It's very important for a child to have. It's part of their development, their social skills, problem solving, emotional development. It's all in there when you interact with your peers. She feels through this experience. She's grown up a lot. She hopes that the owner lives a very long life. That's so cute. There's a little girl with pigtails and she's just sheepishly drinking a drink, her ice. Bossman says, "You gonna come and do it?" And she's like, she nods silently. She goes over and she plays the game and he's cheering her on like, you can do it. When a man gets nurturing, when a man interacts with a child, something happens to me. The maternal part of me that's like, let's make babies. When a man can can take care of a child or is kind to a child. It's like my heart. Ooh. This is a very cute moment is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. And the host is saying he's shouting to them, but no, he's just a big personality. He's a little bit strong, but this is boss man. The child came and he's cheering it on, so leave him alone, man. We've got Prince Player. He's kind of softening that energy a bit from the little kiddie voice that adults do. Thank you so much for coming. Okay, thank you, bye. 10. Prince Player says, oh, your tattoos are cool, boss man. And he says, come on then, let's go to my tattooist. He's like, no thanks, Yamate, like stop. And everyone starts laughing. One of the girls asks Amo, do you have a boyfriend? Is it Player? And she's like, oh, I like the sound of that, yeah. And Player's like, oh, I've heard that before. And everybody takes group pictures. Cheers. A successful festival? I think so. The cafe owner thanks everybody and says the kids had so much fun, and even some of them cried because they didn't want it to end and they were so grateful. So thank you again, and hands them signature signboards from all the kids. Lingerie says, we wrote a letter for you. Thank you so much for everything. Despite how we look as former Yankees, some of us haven't completely left our Yankee life behind. We might look scary, and she must have been a little bit worried about that. But she says, I adore you for having such a big heart and taking us in and letting us do things our own way. She says, I think having a big heart and allowing kids to do their thing and be themselves comes with huge responsibility. I was moved by how you can handle all that when you interact with the kids. I hope I can become a strong woman with a huge heart just like you. I also hope that I can start something like this one day to provide support for children. And everybody claps. And the PA says, since this is the last night that we'll all spend together, let's have a smorgasbord outside of food. Go and enjoy. Could this be the moment? And everyone cheers. Milk's like, what's a smorgasbord? This boy don't know anything. He's young, bless his heart. A variety of food for you to choose and pick. Girl, boy, sorry. The buffet looks great. Since this is the last night, well done to everybody and cheers. What the hell? Lingerie's boob popping out in that shirt. She's looking to lure somebody in tonight because we know tonight is the night. Tonight is the night. I'm excited. We see everybody asking Bossman, what is love? And he's like, I don't know. And everyone's like, oh, we're looking to you because you're the senpai, you're the leader, you're the boss man. I named these people correctly. Over these 2 weeks, they've become quite close. Milk is saying he was a latchkey kid when he was younger. So having these kind of memories where you can have festivals and commune and hang out with other kids is very important for memories. And everybody agrees that the kids were wonderful. Lingerie's talking about how she has a strict family. After school studies, at school or at home, those were her only options. She had a very strict childhood. She didn't have a place to play. And so she feels like if she had a place like that when she was a kid, where she didn't feel the pressure or force to act a certain way, but force her to do anything, she would have been happier. She thinks her life would have turned out very different. And I agree. Everyone thought that the letter she wrote to the cafe owner was very thoughtful. Baby also agrees that it would have been nice to have a place like that. She said it's a dream of hers to create a special place like that. A place that can warm people's hearts. Everybody's just agreeing. Shall we just say that we don't need to hear this shit again? But she does say that she's happy that she got to share this experience with everybody, and it's making her kind of sad now that it's coming to a close. In the interview, she said her past is complicated, so she wasn't trying to be vulnerable. But we all know she's vented a lot about her history. She said by living with everybody, naturally everyone has opened up to each other, and she feels like everyone has a similar mindset and they could really understand each other, which was very important to her. And she thought, oh, maybe connecting is actually nice. Good, healthy friendships. You can be friends with people, baby. It can be possible. And she thanks everybody for the experience. Milk wants to sit down next to Lingerie and says, can I sit there? And she's like, oh, there's no space. And she gets up, but I can sit on you. Huh? Baby is giving the famous death glare. She wants to melt the skin off both of their bodies and then wear it over her face. Sorry. Lingerie's playing a game. She knows exactly what she's doing. She's trying to get Player jealous, all right? Because he is kind of fickle and it might just work. Lingerie says to Milk, we're kind of similar, aren't we? And he's like, yeah, we are. He's got his shades on. He don't give a shit about baby no more. Oof. And I think Bossman signals, okay, this is the best time to strike while she's pissed and weak. Let me go take her away and try and talk to her. Milk's like, I'm not trying to make things worse by flirting with Ammo. We're just buddies. Buddies don't sit on each other's laps like that. Baby and Bossman head into the boys' bedroom and she's like, oh, I feel much more comfortable in here. It's quite nice, isn't it? And 10 looks freaking hot. But Bonsai asks Gary to go into the living room. I can't tell how 10's feeling, but I hope he fights for Gary, although it's kind of too late because Bonsai is the only one that has been trying hard for her. 10 been playing like Player. Milk is basically crying like a bitch to the girls in 10 and saying that she wants me to be assertive, but maybe that's a problem. I haven't been more assertive. And Lingerie starts talking about marriage again. Girl, she's like, I'm not just dating just to get married. Tenten's like, straight after this, you want to get married? And she's like, no. She's like, if there's no one here that makes me feel like it's even possible, I'm going to give up and go. And she said, it's fine that I don't match with anyone. I'll just give up. And Milk's like, so you're taking this seriously, right? And she's like, yeah, I am. And Milk says, we talked about this yesterday. We've talked about this many a time. We know what you want, lingerie. And Milk says, if you're thinking like this, you should probably tell Player. She's told Player he don't want... Oh God, it's gone dark. What the hell happened to the sun out of nowhere, guys? God, maybe it's that time where the tension's going to be rising. That was weird. What time is it? Player shows up. She kind of deflates and she's like, oh, she shrinks into herself. But then she's like, no, I want to talk to you, Player, and takes him into the classroom. Is it the party? Player says, where would you like to go? And she says, to the girls' bedroom. And he says, no, let's go to the smoking area. She wants to be in her bedroom. We know why, but he wants to go smoking because we know why. They're freaking addicted. And they settle for a compromise for the classroom. She said, sit down. And he's like, what about you? And she says, on top. She wants to straddle him. And he says, no, just sit over there. And she's like, no, I'm not doing it. And he's like, what's the point of you sitting on top of me? You know the point, boy. And she changes her mind. She's like, fine, I'll sit next to you then. Let's make a toasty. And he's like, sure, cheers. Emma's asking where Baby is. Milk's like, I don't know. Maybe in the classroom with Bossman. Bossman told Milk that he told Baby that he likes her. So the cat's out of the bag. And he says, I feel like I shouldn't bother them right now, which is respectful. And also just give up, like it's not working. He says he has a lot of respect for Bossman and he just feels like he's too tired to chase her anyway. Fair. Anyway, we're back to Bossman and Baby in the boys' room, and Baby's like, this time was really a lot of fun. I'll probably cry tomorrow. And he's like, really? And she's like, no, I'm just kidding. And he's like, well, I'll make you cry. And she's like, that's scary. He said, these past 2 weeks were pretty deep and pretty intense, right? I chose to come on this show, so she's glad that she got the chance to meet everyone. Bossman says, we don't know how things are going to turn out tomorrow. And Baby forgot that they have to do confessions, and she's like, oh my God, I forgot that. Oops. He said, yep, we're confessing tomorrow. Well, I'd like to confess right now. Oh, sir, you know the rules. Hold it in. I think Baby knows too, because you've already confessed. He said, I can't wait. And she's giggling. Bossman's like, have you sorted out your thoughts yet? And she's like, no, not yet. But there's someone I'd like to talk to and ask what the deal is. I think we're talking about Milk. She's looking for clarification. Forget Player Girl. She said, I need to check on that, so I don't have any regrets like you said. He said, I think that's good. That's a good idea. They both agree that they don't want each other to have any regrets. So let it out. Talk what you got to talk and then make your choice. Gary and Bonsai are hanging out in the living room. And Gary says, to be honest, it was way too quick. We haven't had a real chance to hang out. And Bonsai nods, yeah. Isn't that crazy? And Gyoru has been saying this whole time that she's pretty sad too, as sad as Baby, that it's all coming to an end. She said before coming here, she used to start fiddling with her phone, then not be able to sleep, and then eventually pass out. Now I don't have time to fiddle with my phone, and she doesn't even want to because she's entertained and she's really enjoying everybody's company. She says she doesn't even care about social media, which is a huge statement because, as we know, she's ex-Gary. She was on magazines. Social media is like her running driving force. That's probably the whole reason why she's on this show, for exposure, not love. So for her to say that is a huge statement that she's really enjoyed her time here. She said, I'm pretty happy about that. Although I vlog a lot, those are the kind of feelings and experiences that I want, where I forget that I need to record. And she said, this was the whole point of coming here, to get closer. And then Bonsai says, well, you know, we can still get closer. Like, it doesn't have to end here. And she said, you think so? And he's like, yeah. And she said, then do it. And out of nowhere, Tenten comes in and disturbs the peace. And Gary's like, why are you wearing a different outfit? Why is he wearing a different outfit? I preferred him in the black, but maybe production told him, like, there's too much black going on. We need to differentiate between you guys. The hosts are like, and I'm like, too. He killed the moment, but also I want him to kill the moment because I like Tenten and Gary. As a aesthetic couple, I like seeing them next to each other. I'm not gonna lie. And Tenten says, well, the other t-shirt was see-through, so I had to change it. I'm like, no, Tenten. Fan service. Tenten comes to join the conversation, and now it's a threesome, and Gyara says, I'm glad that I got a chance to know Tenten. And Tenten's like, well, me too, because ever since talking to you, I've really opened up. And Bonsai backs out and leaves. No, stand your ground. But anyway, he gives them a chance to talk alone. Whatever. Gary says, out of all the boys, he's thrown the most compliments about her personality and character her way the most. Tenten says, that's because I find you very mature. And Gary comes out with a quote. What does she say? I have to get this right. She says, my motto is to be the girl who gets tastier the longer that you chew her. Okay. She said, I'm not boring. And he said, like squid? He says, oh, that's good. I like that. Tenten says, some of the things that you said to me got me thinking a lot. I feel like I've gained so much from our talks. I loved hearing what you had to say. And she said, I'm flattered. Garrett in the interview says, in terms of a person's personality or how they communicate, it's good to get to know all that about a person, but it also makes it harder to choose. Ooh, so now she's in two minds. She says, honestly, she thinks she's just going to decide on how she feels tomorrow. I think for everybody, it's going to be a last minute moment, except for Bonsai and Lingerie. Milk is flip-flopping now. Next to the sauna up on the decking, and we have Ten and Bargirl. They've come to speak to each other. Bargirl says to Ten that it felt good for him to approach her because she was always the one approaching other people before then. It had been such a long time since she got a love letter from anyone. So there's been a lot of moments where he made her happy, but also a lot of moments where she was jealous. Having these experiences has made her grow. Ten says, when I think about you, I think you're honest more than anyone. I'm sure everyone can be honest, but they don't always show it. And he takes this weird fake ass sip of his drink. What the hell? He says he hadn't been honest like she is. To be open has been a struggle for him, and it's become a habit. And then he realized he needed to speak more from his heart after coming here. And he said he felt like he learned that from her, how open she is, which is very sweet. So he's grateful for that, and he thanks her, and he says, oh, but this is kind of awkward because he's not used to expressing himself. Ten, you little hottie. Ten says he doesn't let people in very easily, and he's very selective on his friends despite the gender. So when it comes to having a girlfriend, he can't make up his mind because he's very purposeful, very selective, and he knows that once he's made up his mind, it's all going to be about her. So he needs to get it right, is what he's saying. It's revealed in the interviews that Bargirl did say that she was thinking about choosing Ten, but we already knew this. Ten's not very sure about choosing her, and he says, of course, I'm very aware about her having feelings for me, so he needs to think about it carefully. And I think he's going to reject her, but he needs to think about how he's going to reject her, in my opinion. We'll see. Then we cut back to Lingerie and Player. They're drinking their drinks, and she stares at him and leans in, and he's like, what is it? I like you. And he's like, oh, thank you. Her boobs are about to pop out of that shirt, but she don't care. She wants him to see it all. I still like you. And he said, I'm happy to hear that, seriously. She said, I used to be the type that committed to someone before they asked. That happened a lot. I've never gotten feedback about what I could do better, what they didn't like. So whenever there's someone I like, I didn't quite know how to act around them. So it's better if you just tell me what I'm doing wrong, and I'll try to change what I can change. So I wanted to ask you that. And she starts crying again. Girl! We cannot get an episode or a scene without Lingerie crying. She is the crybaby, the biggest crybaby out of all of them. Some moan, but she physically is the crier, okay? And he says, crying again? And she goes, I'm not crying. And he's like, yes, you are. Girl, are you drunk? You crying? He said, it's totally all right to cry, I think. It's so weird now. My head's in a weird place. She's like, why is it in a weird place? And he says, well, I want more time to think. Boy, tomorrow is the final day. There's no time to think. Action needs to be taken. He's like, baby, you don't know. And he says, I can't quite figure out why you like me in the first place. I can't understand either. Why do any of the girls like you? And she goes, should I tell her the reasons? And he's like, yeah, tell me. She said, number 1, your face. Number 2, your dirty hair. Not the dirty hair. More shots fired. Get on the train. Your hair is lame. I can't complain. Hair train. Number 3, you seem honest. If you don't like me, you show it. You can tell me anything, anytime, baby. Number 4, you're motivating me. Because even though you tell me you don't like me and you're very honest and you don't want me right now, I still want to try harder. That's not really a reason, girl, but okay, sure. And she does this so positive. But you're not crying anymore, so that's good. Number 5, I like you. She crazy. He's like, that's a lot of reasons. And she's like, what should I do? And he's like, I don't know. She says, I just know that I can't give up. I feel like the feeling that there might be a chance. That's where I'm at. And he's like, I got it. She gets up, she stretches out her hands, and then she leans in and sits on his lap, and his arms are stretched out too, ready to receive her. She sits on him. They hug temple to temple, very close. She says, I like you. Sounds like she's gonna cry again. Don't cry, girl. And she kisses him on the forehead. He's smiling. He looks very happy in this moment. I'm not gonna lie. He's like, yeah, get a bit of body to body, girl. Grand on the D. But like, obviously, he's on TV, so he ain't gonna do all that. But he's smiling. Like, how can you not smile at that? A pretty girl's on top of you, sir. So enjoy it. But just don't get too handsy, because it's gonna make you look bad. He's looking around, and then he eventually picks her up and then puts her down and says, let's go back. We're back to Amo and Milk, and Milk says, I've got to decide who I want to pick tomorrow, but I'm kind of thinking maybe I should go for Lingerie because she's always been cute. And Amo's like, huh? because she knows all the conversations that she's had with Milk. Why is he changing his mind all of a sudden? He thinks that she's cool. He did send her a love letter, but I think it's because he was giving up on Baby and trying to branch out for his options, but it's way too late. Lingerie is too into Player, so I don't know why you're even bothering. He's like, her faithfulness, her loyalty, her expression, the way that she's so aesthetic and good with art and creating. I like all of that. And Emma's like, oh, I didn't know that. He said the only one that he went out of his way to talk to was Lingerie. And he says, I haven't told the other guys how I feel. And he says he knows that Lingerie is chasing Player, so it's not like he can just tell her. He's always liked her more than Baby. But I do have feelings for her. That's why I've been talking to her. And after he's been saying all that to Emma, Baby pops up and says, Milk, let's talk. And he's like, oh shit, it's about to go down. And Milk says to Emma under his breath, it's time to set things straight. Baby says, did you drink a lot? And he's like, no. And they go into the classroom to talk. The hosts pick up that they're back to Keigo, which is polite language, of respectful language, and they've gone back to formalities, which is sad and shows the distance between them. It's not looking good. Now Emma's gone to talk to Player and Lingerie is not happy. She's like, oh no, my man. They go and sit next to the sauna. Emma's like, we're near the ending. Did you have fun? And he's like, yeah, it's been fun. Emma says, remember yesterday when I was venting how I feel to you? Well, I wanted to thank you for that, for being there for me. She said, I wouldn't have found romance if it wasn't for you. Don't thank the boy. I wouldn't quite call it romance, would you? You kissed, but there ain't no love there. They both laugh. And he says, I know you'd feel that way, but there's also other girls that are into me too. He keeps killing the moment. He does not like her. Emma's been coming on very strong, and so has Lingerie. He hasn't kissed Lingerie, he's kissed Emma, because I think physically he's attracted to Emma. It makes no sense. The girl you kissed the girl. So what are you doing? Is he just trying to play it to the very end? And he's like, so I don't know anymore. And I'm like, I hate your character in this. Trash. Send him back. And she's like, you don't know? And he's like, well, no, lately I've been getting close to 2 people. It's making it harder to choose. Lingerie told me too much and my head's in a weird place now. And Emma says, you told her that you went into her, but your feelings changed. And he's like, well, yeah, it's difficult. I'm having such a hard time putting my feelings into words. And it ends there. Has Lingerie's hard work and just throwing herself out there, being loyal, paid off the same way that Bonsai is being loyal to Gyaru might pay off? Milk and Baby, I think Milk's too weak. He should just stick with Baby or just not go for Lingerie, because that's not happening. It's all a total mess. I'm still excited to see what happens in the finale. Let me know what you thought about this episode in the comments down below, and I'll see you later. Bye.